Welcome back, everybody. This is Thursday video 2. In this video, we are going to talk a lot about contextualization and how to start researching for your rhetorical analysis paper. So Thursday, we already looked at the planning and organizing rhetorical analysis document as well as the common knowledge document I had you read for today. One quick note about writing response 4. So I'm going to explain it more in Friday's video and also guide you through on eCampus how to submit. Essentially, you should be working on your rhetorical analysis paper. So it's due this coming Wednesday, the 13th at 11:59 p.m. on eCampus. That'll be the same way you submitted your narrative paper, but I want to see a little bit of your rhetorical analysis before the full draft is due, just to make sure you're right on track. So writing response 4 will be due 4 p.m. on eCampus. It's just 1 or 2 pages of your rhetorical analysis. So just do the best that you can, type up what you have. You might even start typing 1 or 2 body paragraphs for me to look over. We will peer review them, and that will be part of Friday's video. So just give a heads up that it's coming up, and then on the 5th, so you'll have the weekend to kind of recover, and then on the 5th, you'll be doing just a response to your group's rhetorical analysis drafts, okay? Something like this will show up in your final portfolio, so you're doing some work for your final portfolio already. All right, so for contextualization, let's go ahead and pretend that I am going to write about this movie poster. It's not an option because I don't want to give one group of students quote all the answers, even though there are no strict answers for this paper. So I'm going to take this because I love The Walking Dead. It's one of my favorite shows, and this is the very first TV show poster, okay? If I say movie poster, please excuse me, my mind's on your papers. So this is the very first one. Again, I have chosen one. That's the first step. Second step is to describe what's going on. So if I would look at this, I would automatically notice my focal point. It goes to this area here. The Walking Dead's in huge letters. It's again a vertical line that the road lines help me guide my eye toward the city, Atlanta. Also, it has some kind of horizontal planes of information. So I would definitely talk about alignment. I would also talk about ethos. So The Walking Dead, since it's a new show, I know right now it's really popular. If you watch it or not, you've probably heard of it, but it's a new original series on AMC. So AMC is using its brand. It has its logo here. It has the date down here, so it's good information for me to know. It's out of the way of the picture. It shows that this is going to be the main frame of it. Everyone was trying to leave. I can expect destruction of the city. It's fitting in with the genre of a post-apocalyptic / apocalyptic show, right? There's nature, aka birds fleeing the scene. They're getting the heck out of Atlanta. Everything's dead there. Everything's bad. Yet our protagonist, Rick Grimes, is heading into the city. And if you watch the show, you know what already happens. So another thing about ethos, from the director of The Shawshank Redemption and the producer of The Terminator. So I've seen both of those, loved both of those. So I'm already on board. It's on AMC, and it has these 2 big names kind of supporting the way of the show to begin with. So I would talk about ethos, alignment. I would talk about conventions because I know a lot of the conventions of post-apocalyptic or dystopian / apocalyptic movie posters and TV show posters. You've seen the World War Z one, and I've put a couple up. So this would fit into the zombie tradition, and you have Night of the Living Dead that you can look at, though that is roughly 40 or 45 years older than The Walking Dead, so things have changed quite a bit. However, the emphasis on destruction, decay, there's not a lot of color. There is this strange kind of sun hidden behind the clouds, so it looks almost inviting here, which is why our protagonist is headed there. Okay, so description over. There's a lot more you can say, but we got to get on to research. So I'm going to take you through a couple different avenues that you can research, and these are all things that you're going to use for your stakeholder paper and in English 102. So your first instinct is probably Google. I'll just Google everything. That's great to start with. So if you don't know what your movie's about, then I recommend first you watch the movie. If you don't have enough time, then you can go to Google. I say that you can use Wikipedia, but do not include it as a source in your paper. Okay, I use Wikipedia all the time to get the basis of my knowledge, and then I work off that knowledge with more peer review articles or more ethical or credible sources. Okay, so we're at the library's homepage. That's lib.wvu.edu. Here you have several tabs. I'm going to take you through two of the main tabs for this assignment. So articles is something that you're going to want to use for this assignment and the next one, and databases. Books and media, you don't have time to really read an entire book about this topic, and then these two, don't worry about. So under databases, and my computer is a little slow, I do apologize. Database name. So you'll type in the name here. There are two main databases that you're going to want to use for this project and for really a lot of humanities-based projects. So the first one's called Project Muse. You just type that in, hit enter, and then it'll pop up here. It gives you a little description, but I know what it is already, so I'm going to go ahead and click it. This, what should pop up is a sign in where it asks for your username and password. I've already put that in here. That's why it didn't pop up. But all you have to do is just enter your WVU ID and then your password. And then hit enter and it'll bring you to this site. Okay, so once you're at this site, I recommend the first thing you do is a general search. So a general search might be just the name of the movie, TV show, whatever you want to tackle. Because then you can get a sense for, oh, what's published about this topic. So the titles are going to be your main indicator of whether you should click on this article or not. So it's talking about medieval and Renaissance worlds. I don't think that's talking about the actual show, The Walking Dead. This one, not either. This one, not either. You can also look at the journal name. So Prairie Schooner, that doesn't sound super modern and probably doesn't have anything to do with The Walking Dead. So, Dead Men Walking, Consumption and Agency in the Western. Film and History. This seems pretty promising, so I go ahead and click on it. And a PDF will already start to load on your computer. So, I'm still not sure if it relates to my topic or not. So I go down here, and a lot of times they'll have what's called an abstract, which is basically a summary of the article. I recommend you read the abstract before you dip too much into the article. Another thing you can do is you can Control F in your, or Command F if you're using a Mac, and then you can type in terms like The Walking Dead. So this one doesn't have any of The Walking Dead in it, so it's a mute article, and I'm going to go back and search for something else. So it doesn't look like I did a very good job at searching. So in this case, you might put The Walking Dead TV show, and that might help with the results. All right, so it's giving us a couple more things, not really what I'm looking for. So in cases like this, which happens all the time with research, research is probably the most time-consuming activity, I will just go to a different site. Okay, so this is Project Muse. It might have information on The Purge, The Hunger Games, but for me right now, The Walking Dead, it's not doing a very good job, and I'm going to go ahead and switch over to another database to give you guys some more examples. Okay, so I'm going to exit out of Project Muse. I'm going back to the library homepage and still going to databases because there's another database that I want to show you guys. This one's called JSTOR. Search that and it pops up again. Again, it might prompt you to put in your login information if you're accessing things off site, but you'll see here that it's provided by West Virginia University, so we're good to go. Again, I'm going to type in a general term and just see what happens, just see what pops up. So JSTOR gives you even more information. You can kind of read where the search terms pop up. The Walking Dead tears fell for the dead, but not for the dead in graves, da 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 da. That doesn't seem like anything I want to research. You have to watch out for review. Reviews are reviews of another work. So you want to stay away from these, okay? The Walking Dead, adapting to comics. So I might click on this if I'm interested in seeing how Robert Kirkman's comic was then created into a TV show. It might not be the best for this actual research, but it is relevant and actually is talking about what I'm trying to search. All right, most of these are reviews. So again, didn't search well enough. So I might do Walking Dead and consumerism. So this is where you start getting more specific. I know that Walking Dead is a zombie show or walker show, and I know that consumerism and zombies are often tied together, as a lot of Romero's films indicate. But I can look back at this and I can see, okay, what are some things that are important to this movie poster or TV show poster? So destruction, the city versus nature. These are all terms that I might zero in on to make my search more specific. I might think about Rick Grimes's journey. Where is he going actually in the movie poster and in the show itself? So Dawn of the Digital Dead, zombies, blah, 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 blah. This seems pretty good, and I've actually already read this article for something else I've been researching. This talks about technology and American popular culture, as it says here, how zombieism is a metaphor for the millennial generation, essentially. Here, if we look further, cannibalism, consumerism, Cormac McCarthy's The Road. So I don't really want to read about Cormac McCarthy's The Road, and that doesn't really have anything to do with The Walking Dead. This is great, a great article as well. It doesn't relate specifically to The Walking Dead, but it does give me information about consumerism and the history of zombies. Okay, so any of these for your guys' respective movie posters, click on them. And what I like to do is go to download PDF, because then I don't have to scroll through every single page. I accept, proceed to PDF. That just means you are not going to steal this article or whatever, like their terms and policies. And then I'll read through it. Again, look for that abstract, see if the information is going to be useful or not. Okay, so this one does have an abstract. That's great. I've already read this, like I said. And we're going to speed along because we're running out of time. Okay, so we've looked at Project Muse and JSTOR. Those are two of the best sites for humanities-based research. Let's look just at articles. Remember, I said articles and databases are going to be your best friends for this project. Let's type in The Walking Dead just under, oh, I did all, my bad. Let me go back and put articles. And The Walking Dead. All right, so over here, you can see that it's already checked articles, good, because I asked it to. And if it says peer-reviewed next to it, that means that someone in this field or in this genre has peer-reviewed it, has okayed it for scholarship. They're normally more credible if someone has peer-reviewed it. So any of these, I would click on. It doesn't give me a lot of information because I didn't give the computer a lot of information. Oh, cannot spell today. Okay. So consumerism. Again, I'm sticking to this theme. I would scale through these. I see zombies, zombie of the 21st century. That sounds like something I would want to look into. I'll click on it. And then you want to try to get a PDF of it if possible. You might have to log in again. And a good thing is they actually have the citation here if you go to MLA. But we're in the 8th edition now, so you'll have to update that. We'll talk about that in the next video. Okay, so there's a ton of stuff here. The last thing I want to show you guys is Google Scholar. So I normally just Google Scholar. And once you get here, and consumerism, oh man. So it has more articles here. Again, just check it out. This is a book. I might not want to look at the whole book. So just take your time, go through these, start researching. We're out of time for this video, but we will talk a lot more about research in the future. So good luck. Let me know if you have questions, and see you Friday.